Yeah, now it's live. So, feel free to start, anyone. So generally the agenda is, like discussed before, it's mainly about documentation, updating docs in general, some refactoring tasks as far as I know, and the other topics are more like what I catched in the chat over the last week. Some things some of you told me would be nice to get just 1-2 sentences what the state is. And yeah, so as I was a bit out for the last weeks and months, any one of you can catch, like start now with, I don't know, about regarding documentation. I mean, there is a GitHub issue I created already, and I think there are a couple of others. Basically updating documentation, right? So I don't know if anyone has anything more here. Otherwise,
just hold on. I'm just gonna publish the tweet that we're having a meeting. So people that want to join can join.
Oh yeah.
Cool. So you're posting on Twitter or something?
That's right.
Yeah, I think yes. He's now sharing it on Twitter. Yeah. Cool. So, yeah. It's basically updating documentation for all the different commands. I think it's updating the stuff also on the official Webpack documentation page, right? Not only on our GitHub repository, but also on webpack.js.org. Yes.
Anyone wants to start on that, or should I just elaborate some more? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I mean, for me.
Yeah, or should I elaborate on, because I'm the one who mainly has come up with these points. So yeah, I think
for me,
cool.
I think it's more like it's for me, it's just clear. It just needs to happen. It's currently more like we all need to just copy paste some text, update the stuff. Honestly, I had no time yet, but tomorrow I start work again, which means with starting work, I can also start focusing more on other stuff like open source again. And I will take some stuff, and yeah, I don't know what others are doing. And where I think Luke can't be here today. So he also said that he wants to do some stuff.
Luke Edwards.
Regarding documentation. Okay, just a second. Yeah, I will give you right access.
Yeah, because he's based in LA, so I don't know what time there is. Just hold on. I can send him a message on Twitter.
So if anyone also wants to, I will copy paste the link on Slack. If someone wants to add something on the agenda, you can all edit.
Yeah.
Because then it's much easier. So I think regarding docs, it's clear, like I will do something. Luke wants to participate. Emanuele, I think too. I had a chat with him regarding he started with some stuff. Yes. And the other topic is more like regarding documentation in general. There are so many approaches, but I think that's not something for us directly. It's more like, I haven't said in this lecture, it's something for like maybe the bigger round, pinging people. But I want to check again Webpack.js, how it works, how easy it is or not, and then we can make proposals there. But it's a bigger topic, I think. So, oh nice. I see Reno, a duck and the anteater.
Right. Could I chime in on the documentation work, just real quick? I think that we should try to submit more pull requests to the webpack.js repository, because right now the documentation for the CLI, it's not that well written. It's mostly just really simple examples that the contributors have found on Stack Overflow and those websites. So it's quite hard to make sense of it all when you find the exact same answer at Stack Overflow. So some new examples at the documentation page, and some more in-depth guides on Webpack-CLI itself would be really awesome. Yeah.
So, yep, I agree. I mean, we already discussed. I was just like PRs to the Webpack.js. So this should be our main focus, I think, over the next couple of weeks regarding documentation. Yeah, the other one, it's basically what I think you, Evan, did, and I think, it's hard to spell the name. Drufdat did. Drufdat. I'm sorry, it's hard to spell. So,
it's all right, man. You can call me just Dhruv. Yeah.
Just Dhruv is perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry for that. So I mean, you both did a couple of things. So maybe you can just give a brief introduction.
Yeah.
What to say if you're done, and then also, like, I think you wrote this review of Google's Summer of Code blog post. Is it from you or from Evan? So.
Yeah, so this was a program sponsored by Google, where I was selected to work on Webpack-CLI for 3 to 4 months. So that has now ended, and this is last week for it. And I've written a wrap-up post of what all things I worked on and what all things we are done with the CLI. So I think the first phase was majorly about optimizations that even started with on the ASTs, and then I carried it forward on the other commands like update and remover and all that stuff. So we also have now update or add command ready. Update is essentially they both are merged into the add command itself. So some of the new commands that came in in last couple of months are the add command and remove command, for which we don't have much documentation or not proper examples. So we can also cover that in the documentation notes that we are writing right now. So that is something that we have to do. And yeah, along with that, we also did the TypeScript migration. So now the code looks quite stable and predictable. We haven't migrated some parts of the code, like the bin folder is still in JavaScript. So even and I talked about it, and we have made a decision to stick with JavaScript for the bin folder to see if we are not impacting any early contributors and people to understand the code, and making or keeping the friction lower for new developers and new contributors. So that is why we still have that folder in JavaScript. So anyway, he's going to do a revamp or rewrite of it. So let's see how we can or what we can do on that post the revamp of bin folder. And
I think
so,
that the main reason that we stuck with JS on the bin folder was because if you had read the issue label or the issue tracker that had the original issue, that people were afraid that they couldn't contribute more because the TypeScript part itself would be hard to grasp at the start.
Right.
So that's the primary reason why we're keeping the entry point of the CLI in regular JavaScript, so people can actually get more involved with Webpack over time.
Right, makes sense. So yeah, and the other major thing that I worked on and is currently ongoing is the migration feature. So we had some plugins that were working from Webpack 3.4, but one of the things that was majorly missing and changed was the CommonChunksPlugin and migration of that to SplitChunksPlugin. So that is currently being worked on, and it looks like almost ready. So that is under review from Tobias. So
What's missing on the PR, because that's the most important PR that you have, because that
right,
depends if you pass it or fail Google Summer Code in the last evaluation actually. So that should be
right.
done, and the evaluation is due to Monday or wait, to Tuesday. So yeah, we gotta hurry up on that part.
Yeah. So the comments that Sokra left last have been resolved on the same day itself, but he hasn't done another round of review. So I'll just ping him again to see if he has time to review that again. But I think he did 2 or 3 rounds of reviews, and I've covered all the things that he commented on or he pointed. So I think this should work for most common use cases, but I'll just ping him again to see if he can take another look at it before we merge it.
All right, great.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys can also take a look at it. Just look at the test cases or something, or if you find any popular use cases that we are missing out, and see if we can add support for that. So that is an open PR which should be like merged in a day or two, I guess.
Okay. Can you share it also on the Slack channel again? So it's easier to just click on it and then maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Sure.
Thanks.
Also, we'll need to
Share
add docs once this gets merged. We'll need to add docs for this command and some code examples as well for this.
Yeah, regarding linking, just post it in the Hangouts so everybody can have a look. Viewers as well.
And the second one is just maybe, ping Tobias. Was it Tobias regarding the review? He needs to do the review, right? Sokra. And I don't know if you have the feeling I'm quite sure he's busy a lot, then maybe, I don't know, go to the general Webpack channel or something, or ping Sean, I don't know, so you don't get stuck too long. I mean, as far as I understand, it's highly important because this is basically how you get the review for the Google Summer of Code. So it shouldn't be blocking you also on this side.
Right. So actually, So actually, we talked about it, and we can't have a proper. We can also have a proper one-to-one mapping for this. So what we are planning to do is cover the most common use cases for now, which can work on. Maybe just provide a link to users who have used CommonChunksPlugin in an advanced way or in a way which is not predictable for us to have migration. So. You guys can take a look again. I'll ping Sokra, and I also talked with Sean about it. I think he has taken a look, but he hasn't commented on it. But let's see what happens now. But it looks good to me. Any other big thing that you guys think we are missing on Webpack 3.4 migration apart from CommonChunksPlugin part?
So I can't say something right now because I didn't check. But
yeah, definitely, you guys can. Yeah.
I mean, the best thing is maybe just share it with a bigger audience. Just ping it on Twitter. I can retweet, ask some people. Maybe Evan can do, and then ping it in the Slack channel here, there, and then if you get feedback, then cool. If not, I mean, people will review and give you feedback anyway.
Right.
Yeah, and did you speak to Sean about reviewing the Medium post?
Yeah, I pinged him to review the blog post. I've added it to the Webpack publication,
Mhm.
and I guess he should be reviewing it once he comes online.
All right. So how long ago was that? A few days or today?
Oh, I pinged him today because I wanted to add some more code examples, some visualizations of ASTs and all that part. Also, I was thinking to, in the end, add what things we are going to do for next couple of months. So probably the things that we are discussing right now about the documentation improvements and all that. So I was planning to add that at the end of my blog post and just give an idea to the community of where where the team is working on for next couple of months. So that's why I didn't ping him earlier. So I'll just add these things at the end of the blog post and ping Sean to review it.
Dhruv, just a comment here. Can you make sure, can you follow up quickly or can you follow up repeatedly? Because my blog post is still in draft. So it might get delayed because Sean and Sokra or Tobias, both of them are really busy. So just follow up with them continuously in order to make sure that everything happens correctly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll ping them again. So I've anyways published it on my handle,
Yeah.
on my Medium handle, and once it gets published on Webpack's publication, I'll just give a link to it or just remove it from my profile. So that's the plan. Which post of your is pending? The learner migration or which one?
Mine is it?
Yeah. Which
The mine is like previous one, like the Webpack CLI, how to create a new add-on and things like that. That was pending for a long time. It was not yet published.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
it.
I
Yeah.
think that might be slightly because we had the organizational issue
Yeah. Yeah.
to water that down.
Yeah.
To be honest, though.
No worries. I'll ping him again to see how soon we can publish this.
That post is outdated now, so don't worry about that post. But this one, just make sure you're pinging him again and make sure you're.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in touch with him. So I'll just remind him about it.
Okay.
Cool. So what else do we have to discuss?
I was just wondering, like in general, how good are you with your last phase or your last evaluation? And are you in line or are you behind?
So initially, one of the things that took some time initially was my inexperience with Webpack in general. So I started with Webpack mostly after Webpack 4 got released. So which is why I didn't know what things made the Common Chunks plugin deprecated, what were the shortcomings for it. So that's why it took a while to do some research and what migration fits in and how does it make sense to do the migration and how the mapping might work. So I was digging into the old docs, but some docs were hard to find. So I had to actually I actually went through the Git history of our GS docs, Webpack docs, and found some old docs to understand how Common Chunks plugin was working. Also, we have the examples folder on Webpack repo. So in that also the Common Chunks plugins examples were removed. So I went to Git history and saw some examples and how these same examples are written using SplitChunksPlugin now. So that also helped a lot to understand the mapping and what change and like what things I need to manipulate and how the mapping should work. So which is why it took a time initially. Then again, I also referred to some external websites which had third-party websites which had Webpack 3 to 4 migrations. Also made some notes from those blogs and uh, those perspectives as well. So what I found was that most of the things were already implemented by Jack, and I don't remember the name of that guy. So I think Paul. Paul and Jack. So yeah, those two guys implemented or started with Webpack 3.4 migration. So most of the small plugins that were removed, like the uglification plugin, was not needed anymore. So things that were already in place and were implemented. The biggest thing which was missing was the CommonChunksPlugin. So I directly started with that, and it took a while, but I'm glad that it is finally ready, or at least is in the final stage for the review, and for it to get merged and release.
That's nice.
Yeah. So maybe we can. I was thinking like maybe we can do a pre-release or something for migrate feature, and just have some beta testers or something who can just maybe install Webpack-CLI migrate at next, and do some user testing before we release it as the like master or the main release. So we can also try that.
Yeah, sure. I think that after Google Summer Code is over, I'll publish a next branch, and I'll publish it as a beta.
Yeah,
Does that
yeah,
sound
we can
alright?
do that.
Does it sound alright?
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. So cool. Interesting.
Ferret?
Yeah.
Should we continue? What bullet point are we on?
So currently, I mean, the documentation part was just giving an overview that we need docs to be written, which needs to be written. The refactoring part, I just know that refactoring bin folder to be better both visually and for users. So the refactoring of the bin folder is a topic. I don't know if this is already done.
No, actually, I'm starting on that tomorrow because
Okay.
I've been working all summer and got 1 week of vacation, which is partly done now. So I'll start on that tomorrow. I have 1 week on that, and then I'll try to wrap it up within 2 to 3 weeks. I think it should be done due next Sunday. So after that, then we could focus on maintenance and fixing bugs, closing issues, writing more documentation. That's really important, and answering people on Stack Overflow, Gitter, and every other medium that people might ask questions at.
I'm also thinking now, when I start to catch up, that we might even maybe it makes sense to have like a slide desk for all of us, and then we can all just go out on meetups or something.
What was this?
Just slides, like presentation for meetups, so that we have just one, and we can all just use it. We can all customize it, but we have like a one slide desk, and then we can all, I don't know, anyone who wants to go to a conference near you or in another country, just you can use it, because it will also help to increase visibility. And then, I mean, if we will focus all on documentation, hopefully, this will also create a lot of knowledge we can share.
Yeah, sure. By the way, have anybody heard from Emanuele?
No, not really, but I don't know even if he said he will join. Even the last time he said he can't. I guess because it's weekend, I think that might be being difficult.
Sure. All right. So yeah, just a status update on. I just did a brief one on the refactoring bin folder. I can actually show you if you want to. I can show you how it works right now.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I think we're good. Can you see my screen? guys.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, I'm seeing. So I'm seeing here. I will ping you so we can present to everyone.
Let's see. Okay, sorry. My headphones just died. This is it. Great. We're starting in the CLI file. This one. Yeah. We require the V8 compile cache to speed up performance, and we try to resolve the local one, the local file path. And we also this is all just utility files or code that would help developer experience, like saying that we appreciate it from this version. And if everything is fine, then we start the bootstrap file or the run file, which is here. And this is just a utility files to print out errors cleaner. Here we can add loggers, and that's what Polymer is doing to predefine the log errors. And the CLI right now is having a kind of unique structure. So say if we run Webpack init or Webpack migrate, then this line right here would try to find that command and to run the respective command, which I will show you in a while. And if you can't find a command, then we are using command args to parse arguments, which is having a similar. It has a similar structure, just like Yogs has. So the thing that's happening here is that we figure out that Webpack is used with a command like init or migrate, and if it's not, then we're using the old Webpack flag system, if you want to call it like that. This is just work in progress. And if we should have a look at run command. All right, so you can see here that I have required Webpack-CLI. That's a class, and I made a class instance here. And if we find out that we are running a command, then we run the commands method, which is this one. And here it will either prompt for an installation and run the respective package, or it will run and require the internal file, which would resolve to something like Webpack Interactive and things that doesn't make sense to abstract into a monorepo package. Here we have the structure of the new Webpack CLI is a hash map, and the hash map links the groups like basic, modular, resolve, and like entries are grouped, outputs are grouped with respect to their usage. So these are all the groups that we have. And for every group, the correct class is required, and on the class itself, they provide here later would provide what's the intention? Checking for errors and just doing validation. So that's basically a short introduction to the new Webpack CLI, and there's more to come. Does that sound right? Or it's quite confusing in the start to navigate the source code. So if you didn't understand that, then I understand fully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what that. I mean, as far as I could follow, it's a lot of jumping up and down all the time.
Yeah, that's.
So I agree.
It's just a short introduction. So the best thing would be to read the source code from the start and just follow along. Yeah.
All right. So I was watching the async await syntax that you were using. So I think that is supported in Node version 7 and above, as far as I know. So would that mean that we'll be dropping Node 6 support?
I don't think so. We're if async await is a high version, then we have to skip to using promises again. And yeah, I'm cool with that. But I think that we should just like move on to the last stable version, and I think like in 2 months or so that's Node 7, so it's no problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Makes sense to maybe check again. I don't know too, but yeah, I'm just googling and some stuff.
No, I think await is from Node.js 8 version, so yeah, but probably we can.
Yeah. Webpack 4 currently supports Node 6, so I guess we'll have to fall back to promise syntax or something like that.
I remember there was a discussion too there, and final result was like we stick with version 6 of Node. Still support.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just important that we make sure that we check when it was introduced, and then either we can use it, but I also think it was a bit later than 6, 7, or 8.
Yeah.
But yeah.
In fact, we are using the await syntax right now as well in info command, I think, Webpack-CLI info, but that is not really super important to maintain, so that's why we have ignored it. But in this refactoring, the await syntax is in the bin folder itself, so we need to take some extra care at this part, I guess, since this is the entry point.
Let me put a note here. But I think check again. Which version introduce? I think. Wait. Version 8, 7 or 8. So okay. Cool. Evan's currently out. I guess something happened. So anyway, the other topic is Webpack interactive mode, which I don't know exactly what this means. I mean, I know what an interactive mode is. I guess it's more about the CLI itself, the interaction with users. But if someone of you has some information about this, otherwise we might have to wait for Evan again.
Oh, I'm not sure. So anyone of you have used any other CLI tools and the things in terms of interactivity that you find missing in terms of experience or ease of using commands compared to Webpack-CLI and the tools that you have used?
Good question. I mean, I tend to use sometimes jest from the CLI part. I really like the way they developed the jest CLI. But I would need to go like do some kind of deep research regarding what to change. I mean, like a couple of weeks ago, I used our CLI again for a project to set up stuff. It was quite fine from my experience. It worked. So in my case, I'm like, okay, it's fine. working. It's doing what I expect. I got a couple of questions asked. The product is created, done. So you might need to check GitHub issues and other stuff, or maybe to see if Evan has something. But I would skip this for now and wait until he is back. The other topics are the other topic is there was some idea, but I don't know if it makes sense now. If we want to go into maintenance mode soon. It's basically the Webpack-CLI dashboard, like having something like the Vue CLI introduced, like a UI for commands, instead of having just plain terminal bash CLI asking.
Can you hear me now?
But that's a bigger feature, right? So I don't know if there was any discussion in the past. I just saw that some of you discussed the idea of having something similar for the CLI, like a web interface, a local web page or something, right? If not,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Cool.
So maybe, do you have some input regarding the interactive mode and what this means? Maybe Evan?
Yeah, so have you used Jest before in watch mode?
Yes.
Yeah, so the idea here is this is from Tobias, and it's to provide an interactive interface for Webpack. So when you are compiling Webpack and you're messing in Git and you want to commit something in Git, then you have the ability to filter out chunks or to pause the compilation, to stop the compilation, to watch graphs and that in general just statistics interactively, like Jest is doing. So that's the main idea here. It's meant to be a Webpack interactive, like Jest is watching, if that makes sense for you guys.
Could be an option. Why not? I mean, giving people more functionality on that side.
Yeah, and it's
just watch mode would be quite helpful, I think, especially if people are interested in having more control.
Yeah, and people are often committing to Git while Webpack Watch is running, say if it's watch mode. And it would be nice if you have the ability to pause and commit and return to the compilation. So that's the idea here, or the main essence of it.
Okay, is there some kind of task GitHub issue already, or was it more like a idea?
Yeah, go ahead and put up an issue. This was just given to me by Tobias through Slack. But yeah, just get it public, write a spec for it, and I'm actually trying to implement it when the new bin folder is up running. So yeah.
So a big syntax here. Yeah, I'm just making some notes. Okay, cool. I'm quite sure I will ping you over the next days about this.
No worries.
Sure. Then the other one was the next step, because I think once we have some kind of interactive mode, we had the discussion regarding having something like the dashboard,
yeah,
web
that's a cool
dashboard.
one.
Yeah.
I think Emanuele was hesitant to that, but the main idea here is to provide a UI or a way to kickstart a new Webpack project without having to interact with the terminal, and to just get everything visually, like to help people get started in a zero config JS kind of way.
Yeah, I totally agree. I will ping Emanuele regarding this. Maybe if he has some time to write an issue, if not yet, write some kind of like a
Yeah.
specification.
And
checking.
for the spec on this, just refer to the Vue UI command and just take some screenshots. Try to mimic what Vue is doing good, what they're doing bad, and how we should implement that. And another thing that would be really cool together with this is the way to visualize. This is something I mentioned earlier in the Slack channel, but to visualize how fast the loading times is. So imagine you're trying to chunk split, and when you navigate to the Google network panel, you could do that. Ferret, and I'll show you what I'm trying to express here. Just
showing me right now?
Yeah, right click and inspect element.
Oh, right now. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Whoops, that's the editor.
Yeah.
Just go to another site or something like that.
So you want to see the DevTools right now?
Yeah, DevTools, network panel.
Oh, just wait. I think you can't see it because I'm just sharing the Chrome tab.
All right, yeah.
Let me just change my sharing settings.
Neat.
Now, yeah.
Cool. All right. So when you refresh a page, then you see the network waterfall, and with Webpack we could just use. I think we can actually use Chrome DevTools directly, and just get the waterfall UI and show users how fast their chunks are loading, so they get a better idea of why chunk splitting is important. I think that will help a lot of people to grasp the concepts of chunk splitting and get them into web performance.
So I really like the idea.
Yeah, but it's a long-term project. So this is something that we could do next year or so, if we're funded for it.
Yeah, totally. I will also ping Emanuele about this, as I said, regarding how much interest he currently has or time. So starting with it, or at least like writing some documents or just checking Vue UI commands, how much we can maybe even use like the idea about the concept, and doing our own web page. Cool. So I made my notes. Before I go to the decision regarding Webpack-CLI and command, just because I was out, and maybe just for everyone that Evan told me that soon, once the features are done, we will go to maintenance mode, right? So it's more like we have a stable version, and this means just that once you have a maintenance mode, it's more about fixing issues and not immediately generating new features. So it gets stabilized first, which is cool that we have this state. I don't know if Evan wants to say something more about this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That's all.
Yeah, sure. So let me just change my sharing again because it's just making me crazy. So this one should be better, that we all see the agenda. Cool. So the last one, and then I think we are done from the agenda part, is just a decision regarding CLI and commands. I think yesterday or 2 days ago, there was something in the Slack chat, the discussion with you and some other people.
Just a short summarization.
Yeah, just super short.
Yeah, Andrew, which has worked on Webpack Dev Server, I think that was it, and some other repository things, has started to work on Roller. He wasn't happy about the management side of things, and without going publicly and discriminating people, I'd say that we should try to use each other's works. It's required from the JS Foundation in order for us, an open collective, in order for us to get funded. and Andrew didn't follow those conventions, and he didn't practice good moral, and I think that's the most important thing about open source. It's more about trying to reuse each other's things because it's MIT licensed, and to have fun and not trying to make money out of it and to coop it all. So that's just a short summary.
Yeah. Stuff like this happens. So I mean, it was great that everyone's just focusing on getting this stuff on the CLI part then. And I think Evan got all the private discussions going on. So thanks on that side that you kind of handled all the stuff. So the other ones were able to.
Yeah, but it's kind of spread. I think Andrew went nuts on several other people. But yeah, in general, it's fine. It's bad.
I mean, it's fine that it's now happened and people were just aware of it and stuff like actions were taken. So I just don't want to move forward and discuss a lot now about Andrew and what happened or not. I mean, everyone saw it on Slack channels and on GitHub and whatever. But it's cool that we can move on with the CLI now. And this is great. I think great news for everyone. So
yeah, and ultimately, sorry to take the word there, but ultimately the Webpack command repository, we could have used that earlier, but Andrew didn't. Like, he refused us to copy any work, and privately he mentioned that he would do bad things like to the ecosystem if I reused his code, and that's why I've been working on a complete refactor of Webpack-CLI and in the bin folder. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's say we can just move something like a check mark. It's done. It's checked. It was some noise for some people, some bad noise, but I think we have a couple of nice tasks for the future and also some really cool ideas. So yeah, I don't have much to say here because I'm done with my agenda. If someone
some topic, I think we didn't quite get to the core of the decision. So it's not Webpack CLI versus Webpack command. It's really just having a choice between two command line interfaces.
Oh yeah.
Webpack command is more like it's quite opinionated, and it doesn't allow you to work freely, such as using flags, combining with flags, and all that kind of stuff. It's more bound to a command that you are executing. So say you want to compile or to chain entry points, that would be hard with Webpack commands. It's not hard, but in that aspect, it's hard with using multiple flags, at least in what I've seen from it. And Webpack CLI is more the old CLI. You can do whatever you want with flags, and we also have commands which Andrew is allowed to use. We have an open agenda. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it was for me. I was just off anyway, which was kind of lucky for me. So I just saw sometimes. I just like weekly. I just checked Slack and I saw like hundreds of messages, and I was like, oh, and I just tried to catch up, and I said, okay, something is going on here, which is not correct. But I always just try to get people back on board of being nice, being aware that there is some kind of code of conduct because we are a JS Foundation, and just relax at the end. Just code. I mean, at the end, for all of us, at the end, it's just, even if it sounds hard, sometimes it's code. It will change anyway. There is a nice blog post I read yesterday that someone did an analysis how often things change before they are fine or like finished. And there is a rate of like each line of code is changed like 10 times before you get to a stable state. So anyway,
That's true. And I just want to go public and say that Andrew is a great guy, and he's a really good coder. But it's people are more important than the process sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. Anyway, if someone else wants to say something or some issue, bug, task, or I don't know, a comment on GitHub or somewhere which you want to discuss, now is the time. Otherwise, enjoy your last hours on Sunday. Yeah, have a nice work week, I guess.
Yeah, everybody. Drew, can you ping Tobias and Sean again and say that it's important that you get your work done and that they check in on your stuff. Can you do that?
Oh, can you repeat the last part?
Oh yeah, just reping Sean and Tobias to have them review your work because Google Summer Code is ending in 2 days.
Yeah, I'll just ping them again. I already pinged them, but I'll just remind them again.
Okay, nice.
Cool.
Okay, cool. Then
I think that's it.
That's it.
Yep.
Great. See ya.
See ya.
See ya.
Have fun.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.